Along with Steve Smith, Brendan Haywood, 8 games on deck. Let's skip all the formalities. The story that everyone wants to talk about is the drama in the Bay Area. Everything going on with Draymond and KD.
There's a lot of stories, though, isn't
man,
it?
we got to welcome our guy in. He's never been with us on Friday nights, man. Friday Night Live, we got Ro in the building.
Yeah, I'm officially here.
You official, man.
He is, isn't he?
Hey, he got the tinted glass. I like those. I'm going to get me a pair of those. I'm going to stop by.
They clean.
I know. He clean now. Hey, Mama, he made it.
I spent all my lunch money in one place. But seriously, this drama has been carrying on all week. It's been the topic of discussion on NBA Twitter. It's been the discussion here on NBA TV. I mean, what do you make of everything now, seeing where it's going?
Well, first of all, I love when players, if they can, keep it in-house, Brendan. That's the first thing in organizations. Second, obviously, we got a chance to watch what happened, and we've seen that before. But obviously, when you get fined, it was more than what we saw on the court. It had to be more in the locker room, because I haven't been around when a guy get fined when two guys just get into an altercation where they're just verbally talking, Brendan. You've been around the league closer than me, but I think now you got a chance to see that KD, Draymond got a chance to talk. Is it squash? We will not know, but at least you can see they came out and they got a chance to play basketball. Even though they lost, I didn't see the effects of it on the court.
I think they'll be just fine. These type of things happen. Sometimes guys go too far. Obviously, Draymond's comments crossed the line. The Golden State Warriors felt we have to reel Draymond back in, because we cannot allow that type of behavior, that type of language, and that type of rhetoric towards each other to become the new normal. We can't let guys start talking to each other like that, because, Smitty, you know, when you start throwing around the B word, sometimes punches can be thrown, you know, and that's what type of things can happen. So I like what Golden State did. I think those guys are going to talk it out. They're going to be just fine. I've had altercations with teammates where we've got into it, we talked it out, and now we've been the best of friends ever since. So it happens more common than people think. But because the Golden State Warriors, mega spotlight on them, and let's be honest, a lot of people are rooting for the Warriors to break up anyway. So
why wouldn't you?
Well, I like to see greatness, but a lot of people want to see.
Well, if you're in the league right now.
Yeah, a lot of people in the league want to see a lot more parity, so they would love to see KD or somebody go somewhere else. So we know what this is about.
So the spotlight was on these two teams last night, talking about Golden State and Houston, where they took that 20-point loss. Now, apparently KD's favorite Drake song is Nice for What? Let's check out what he said after the game.
Kevin, with having another game to play and having some dialogue, how would you characterize how things are with you and Draymond?
Don't ask me about that again. We didn't play our best game. It happens. You know, if those emotions are what caused us to lose, then it's my bad, you know, but, you know, we're not panicking or think like, oh, man, we're not a great team. We're still the best team in the league, and we're going to win more games and a bunch of games and go win another championship, and we'll be fine.
We're banged up a little bit physically, and right now we're banged up spiritually. I mean, that's there's no getting around that.
I like the way Draymond just nonchalantly said, listen, we're going to win the championship again. He has the utmost confidence, have no problem with that. But what are your thoughts when you see him that relaxed after a loss?
Well, I think if we were playing spades and I had ace, king, queen, jack, and king, I'd be feeling comfortable too. So I think that's what they have. And obviously you don't win games until you go out there and play. Some people can mess up a hand in spades that way. You have to be able to say that. You got to keep the confidence. You got to keep the noise down. But obviously, you still got to go out there and play. No matter what, great teams, you still got to perform. They are missing a key guy in Steph Curry. And people would think they still should win. It may be so, but they didn't. They were playing a Houston Rockets team that is pretty good, and I think they're starting to find their track and their footing.
So, Brendan, I heard you say that there's people out there rooting for this Warriors team to fall apart. Is the rest of the league starting to catch up to the Warriors at this point? We saw them get blown out by Houston. We saw Milwaukee take it to them, blow them out on their home court. What are you thinking about this Warrior team?
Well, I think this Warriors team is still a great team. And I think right now we're seeing them a little bit banged up. It's the beginning of the season. And Steve Smith, Smitty. I called you by your government name. Smitty, you already know as the season goes along, teams like these get better. They start getting closer to the playoffs. They start taking the season a little bit more serious. And I'm not worried about the Golden State Warriors at all. When you get these guys in a 7-game series, when you have Steph healthy, Clay, KD, no one else can match their firepower. So I'm not worried about this team. I think they'll be just fine. And at the end of the day, if they win a championship, we won't really be talking about this.
Of course, we all know about social media and how it pops off, and certain players like to say certain things. There was one tweet that came from Jared Jack where he was discussing maybe where KD might be possibly heading if he so happens to leave the Golden State Warriors, possible destination, the Los Angeles Lakers.
You know, I love my neighbor, Jared Jack, and you see the tweet right here saying that AD, KD, all will be on the same team. Possibly, but I'm not saying it's because Jared Jack said it or any of us said it. Everybody has their opinion, Brendan, but ultimately it comes down to where Kevin Durant wants to go as a free agent. Anthony Davis just can't pick up and go to the Lakers. He has to get traded.
He has to get traded to the Lakers, but Smitty, you know, this summer he did happen to hire Rich Paul as his agent. Who does Rich Paul represent also?
Hey, you mean who LeBron represents? Oh, you said Rich Paul represents?
Yeah, who does Rich Paul
Clutch,
represent?
Clutch, yeah.
Clutch Sports, and they represent LeBron James.
Yeah.
And
you still can't just go to the Lakers.
You can't, but you can help. You can help strong arm your way there, and that's what that move signal
Next
to
year,
me.
not this year though.
You never know.
Okay,
Hey, you know, LeBron gets things he wants. He wanted Tyson Chandler. He called up his buddy James Jones, and next thing you know, he got him. We're living in LeBron James world, baby. LeBron and Palooza.
I can't wait till you get your GM job, because that's what I'm going to do, Brendan. I'm calling up.
Call them up, make things happen.
Yeah.
I'll look out for you.
Appreciate it.
Getting back to the Warriors, so we see that it looks like things aren't falling apart exactly. The team still has championship pedigree. Looking at their next couple of games, we know Steph Curry is going to be out for at least the next 5 games. He'll be reevaluated after that. Looking at the schedule, do you see any potential bumps in the road for this team?
You know, any bumps in the road, because they're Dallas, San Antonio, OKC, Portland, and Sacramento. They're in the NBA, but also they're going to get up for the Golden State Warriors. You usually get your best. I will say is you want teams to challenge you. You want to have this challenge. And I think for Steve Kerr, you don't want losses, but you give Quinn Cook, you give McKinney, you give all these young guys a chance, and Kevon Looney. They're getting a chance to get major minutes while Draymond was out, while Steph Curry is out. But I still want people to understand they're a great team, but they still got the boogeyman. There's a boogeyman that still hasn't got a chance to play. Don't count out that they're still going to add firepower, Brendan, whether it's in January, February, or March. He averaged 25 and 12. And everybody, how does he fit in? He fit in just fine. If you can throw it down in the block and you can't double off those guys, it should be okay.
Do you have any questions about Boogie defensively, though?
I do.
This will be the first time with the Golden State Warriors that you'll be able to attack 2 guys on the court at the same time. When Boogie comes back and teams start to attack Boogie in the screen and roll, and sometimes they're going to put Steph and Boogie in the screen and roll, their 2 weakest players being forced to defend that. They're not going to be able to switch as much with Boogie on the court. That's something that we're not used to seeing from Golden State. So that's the only thing that I worry about with DeMarcus Cousins. I want to see how he's going to blend defensively, because offensively, we already know what he is.
The only thing I'm worried about is how he comes back from the Achilles tear.
Yeah.
But even defensively, they played Zaza Pachulia and David West. 2 guys was long in the tooth. They weren't really switching either. You can get by. You won't have to have him in big-time minutes. You can just have him when you really need him to score points.
You think he'll be happy just playing small-time minutes in a contract?
No, he might not be happy.
In a contract year?
No, he might not be happy.
Okay.
But it's all about winning.
Yeah.
It's definitely all about winning.